Welcome everybody to Carlin, Coin, and Friends. Now, because I'm not a very popular guy, I just have one friend today, but we'll do with what we can. Welcome everybody to Ted.
How you doing, guys?
That's him there.
That's me.
So, today we're going to talk about the CNN Brooke Baldwin First Amendment boobs controversy. So, why don't you go ahead, Ted? Just give the folks at home a quick recap on what had happened.
Okay, so Brooke Baldwin on her show, she's got two guests. She's got the one guy here. You want to pull up these names for me? Yeah, right. So Clay Travis, he's the evil one. He's the bad guy, and Keith Reed,
the boob man.
Yeah, Keith Reed, he's the ally, and so basically. Clay is making this point about free speech absolutism, and he's saying that ESPN they had already set the precedent that they were going to be like non-political by like firing some guy for making some vaguely political comments.
They fired Kurt Schilling for making like pro-Trump or conservative.
No, it was a transgender thing. He had an issue with the bathroom laws or whatever.
Right. So but he didn't say that on the air. This was something he just like tweeted on his own time. And ESPN took the stance that they didn't want to blur their sports type analysis with political commentary. So even though he said it on his own time, he did not do it on the ESPN airwaves, they had to fire him. They had to sever ties with the network. So and then this Jameel Hall, or whatever her name is, this broad tweeted out that Trump is a white supremacist. And they have not fired her. So that's the controversy.
And yeah, so I think basically what Clay Travis was saying is that both of these people should be allowed to tweet vaguely political shit. I mean, what's the big deal? Just respect freedom of speech and neither comment, I think, is that insane. It's not like they're advocating for to wipe out the Jewry of Europe, right?
Right. Yeah, it seemed like he was just saying that he thought they should both be allowed to make those comments and stay on at the network so long as it didn't interfere with their work duties. But since they had set the precedent by firing Kurt Schilling, that they should fire her as well. And he said he thought that would be a bad decision, but it's better than firing people based on specific ideologies.
Right, and all of that's good and fun. But I think what obviously pissed everybody off is when Clay Travis says, I'm a absolutist, or I'm two things in this. What was it? I believe in two things absolutely.
Right.
I want to get the phrasing right, because it was such a sort of vague statement. It was kind of obviously designed just to piss off Brooke Baldwin.
Right, and so he said the only things he believes in with all of his heart, 100%, I believe in the First Amendment and boobs.
Right. And,
these are the two things that have never let him down throughout his whole life. Right. He has enjoyed those boobs, and he has enjoyed the First Amendment.
I think it's pretty funny. I'll be honest.
Yeah. It's just it's a witty juxtaposition. But I think the best part is that he's saying, I support free speech absolutism, while saying something that's just mildly offensive, yet is also going to have these word police censor him.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened.
He crafted that statement to do exactly what it did.
Yeah, he set a trap, and it blew up in their fucking face.
Well, I mean, maybe it's too early to say whose face got shit on it, but...
Right, yeah, has he been fired yet?
Right. But, I think the point's well taken. From somebody who's vaguely on his side, on Clay Travis's side of this argument, I'm gonna say, yeah, he made it kind of what I consider to be a funny joke. Not a hilarious joke. It's a mildly funny joke, but it proved his point.
Right.
Yeah, and then the reaction... I don't know what their proper reaction was, and they obviously didn't know what their proper reaction was.
It was about 3 minutes, so this aired live on CNN.
But whatever they did was not what they should have done.
Yeah. They spent this whole time just sort of stuttering, like their mouths were visibly open, and they didn't know what to respond to it. So during this whole 3-minute time, Brooke Baldwin asked Clay Travis twice, "Wait, did you just say what I think you said?"
Right.
He's like, "Yeah, I like boobs."
Yeah.
And then
the Keith Smith,
whatever.
he jumps in and he's like, just with this straight up, just like white knight position. Like, I have worked with many professional women that I have the greatest and utmost respect for, and I think they can commentate on sports, and I think to bring up a part of the anatomy on national television is completely...
He didn't even quite articulate that thought. Yeah, he mentioned that mentioning a part of the anatomy was somehow wrong, but he wasn't able to follow through the comment. He was just sort of going through the standard talking points of like, I've worked with women, and I'm a fan of women, and women are subject of sexism. And he was going through prepared talking points, and he was a little confused. And he mentioned, like, and for you to bring up a part of the anatomy on live air.
Right. Well, not prepared talking points. That was the best part about this, is they didn't have talking points prepared for this.
They didn't have any to address this issue.
Yeah.
He went through prepared talking points just about women in general and sexism.
Vague pro-women talking points.
Exactly.
Right.
And the only things Brooke Baldwin says was she twice asked him, "Did you say what I think you said?" And then once she was able to sort of gather her bearings, about 3 minutes later, this went on for a long time, and the Clay Travis guy's just going on like, yeah, freedom of speech is good, you can't have this or that rule.
Right, trying to make his point, like, keep making his same point.
Yeah, he kept hammering it home. He had basically made it in the first sentence, but then they were just too befuddled to be saying stuff, so he just kept filling air with more,
just more of the same. Yeah. And by more of the same, I don't mean more freedom of speech and boobs, just more of like, ESPN is dumb for being political. And that was what was so great, because the other two people, Brooke Burke and the Keith guy...
Baldwin.
Yeah. Sorry, Brooke Baldwin.
Brooke Burke is the hot one.
Yeah, it's different. I don't know.
She has boobs.
Brooke Baldwin isn't bad.
Yeah.
Let's get real. But, no. The funny thing was that he kept making his point, and both of the other two people on the show clearly were not interested in his point anymore.
Yeah, they were not listening to the substance of the argument. They were just like, wait, boobs? Wait, did he say boobs? Wait, what did he mean by boobs?
But doesn't that point out that they weren't interested in the story in the first place? Like, nobody was interested in the story.
Right. It was just a vehicle for them to come out with the standard, like, women should be allowed to do the stuff men do, talking points.
Yeah, and it's just like, it was some sort of C-level segment on CNN that, because they need to fill air with something.
Right.
And so everyone was just expecting to just do this sort of by-the-numbers, phoning it in thing.
And this wasn't a brand new story. This had been kicking around for a couple of days. So they basically knew what they were going to say, and they just got on there to say it. But then, so all Brooke Baldwin did was sit there with her mouth agape for 3 minutes, twice asked him to repeat what he said, and then once she got her shit together, she's like, this is over. I'm pulling the mics. Right. Segment over. No more talk.
She literally said, I'm pulling the mics, and like, okay, bye. She was just like,
And then once they cut off the other people and it was just her on screen, she just sat there with a confused look on her face, and she's like, why I never. And then she cut to commercials.
I mean, so what are we to make of this whole situation? The guy said something that was slightly funny, maybe slightly offensive, although, like, you have to have a fucking 7-inch stick up your ass to find that statement offensive. Men like boobs. That's what he said. You know what I mean? So we have to get offended.
Well, at least that particular guy did. He didn't even say, like, gay guys like boobs do. He's just like, I am a fan of the female tits.
So do we have to go up in arms when Kim Kardashian says she loves money? I mean, that's not offensive. It's just as natural as, natural as gravity, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a logical response from the left on this one. They were just shocked that he would mention... It seemed insensitive. Right. It was like, again, it was just like a joke. It was lighthearted. It didn't have a really substantive point to debate.
It was a microaggression.
Yeah, okay.
It was like a perfectly placed, purposeful microaggression.
Yeah, okay. So it is it breaks the rule of not doing microaggressions.
Right.
And it was just perfectly placed because his point was, I'm a freedom of speech absolutist. Guess what? Even for these, like, minor things which you might view as microaggressions.
Right.
And they're like, wait, what? Did he, like, chest boobs? And then they, as soon as they got their shit together, they just pulled the mics.
Right. It's like, oh, you're not allowed to talk anymore. Yeah. His point, they're like, listen, no more speech for you, buddy. You just crossed a line, a line in the sand that has nothing to do with, any of the legitimate restrictions on freedom of speech. It's not like he was yelling like, fire, fire, and then snuck in boobs.
Yeah. And he wasn't saying, like, it wasn't even against women. It was pro-women. He's just fan of that part of women. But the, idea is that if you're a fan of boobs, then maybe you're not a fan of their brains. But this is reading in, like, 8 layers down the road.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you have to have the sort of racist scaffolding, or in this case, sexist scaffolding in your brain to even interpret his comment in that way.
Right.
So, I mean, you're doing more racist and bigoted, sexist thinking than he is.
And then she wrote a text article following up on this, and a big part of it, which the other guy mentioned on the air, was that, like, to a woman host, you would say this? And so I thought we're in, like, a colorblind society. He was just saying an idea about the First Amendment. It shouldn't matter whether she's a man or a woman. But she's saying, because I am a woman, either one, this is a personal attack on me, implying that you wouldn't have said this if there was a man in the room, but that's just falsely bullshit, or, plainly bullshit. And the other one is like, because I'm a woman, I'm not able to handle this the way a man would.
Exactly.
A man would be fine hearing this, but I'm way more dainty and weak, so you have to protect me.
I can't believe you're in 2017, you're not chivalrous enough to watch your tongue in front of a lady, young man.
Wait. You're not allowed to put women on a, chained pedestal. Or what was the thing? Like, locked onto a pedestal? That was the whole idea for a while, was that when you treat women chivalrously, you're acting nice to them, but that actually locks them into a corner, because you can't just speak straight ideas with them. You're restricting them to the domain of, like, dainty womandom. And now he was doing the exact opposite, but she's like, where's my pedestal?
Right, there's some validity to that, because it's like, if you're let's say we've got a bunch of, like, old-timey executive guys in their smoky office, and they're talking hard turkey about the business. Yeah, these people are gonna get fucked, and those people are gonna get fucked, but we'll be able to make our profit margins.
I'm gonna fuck Z Corporation till its pussy's dry.
Not even a sexual thing, but, like, that's where this starts, right? Is when you have the woman executive, everyone goes, oh, we have to watch out. We can't talk seriously in front of the woman's executive about crushing our competitors.
Well, I think it starts with the pussy stuff. It starts with, like, the over-the-top locker room top. Like, I am gonna rape that, CEO. And then you're like, wait, I can't say that in front of a woman, so I'm gonna be really harsh on that CEO. And it's sort of, that's the first step to the pedestal limiting the speech women are allowed to have.
In favor of the pedestal argument, right? In favor of chivalry is bad to women because it diminishes their ability to participate. In favor of that argument, I would say, women should be allowed to be considered tough enough to hear the hard practicalities of the business.
Definitely. I think we're kind of talking past each other a little bit. I think just in terms of progression, the first reason that the men would filter their speech in front of a woman is from an explicit sexual locker room talk type thing. And then it filters down to just being less harsh and less aggressive.
Right. And I think at some point along that chain is when the female argument for, oh, come on, treat me seriously, that makes sense.
But that's not what Brooke Baldwin wants.
She wants to be protected from just the most mundane most mundane microaggressive slights.
Was that guy not aware that this host was a woman? What, did he not put his kid gloves on? Was he talking to her like he would talk to a man?
Right.
How dare he present her with the full breadth of his ideas?
Exactly. Yeah. I think we might have summed it up right there.
Alright, yeah, thanks for tuning in, folks. Clay Travis, I tried to Google, because he's a sports guy, I don't really follow sports, and I tried to see if he talks about MMA. It looks like the answer is no. So, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be seeing much more Clay Travis until he starts making some more racist comments.
Yeah.
But I'll stay tuned. I've got my ear to the ground.
Definitely gonna, Google Clay Travis and Twitter once a month just to see if any gems showed up.
Yeah, I should set up a Google alert for, Clay Travis bigot. And then every time a news story pops up, I'll get any...
Just one more wrinkle of truth. Or who knows, maybe his true nature will reveal himself and he'll actually be some kind of lecherous neo-Nazi that we need to repent for defending today.
Yeah, that could be. Or maybe the truth will come out. This whole thing was a lie. He doesn't like the First Amendment, and he's gay.
What a liar! Oh,
how dare he?
How dare he?
I doubt he likes boobs at all. That guy's a fucking homo.
You telling me this guy likes dicks? I don't care about his ability to speak freely anymore.
Well, if he comes on my show, he better not mention that. Maybe if there's some broad hosting, he could talk about cocks. Yeah. But not in front of me.
On my show, he can only talk about boobs. That's true.
Because I'm a fair person. Right. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to Carlin, Corn, and Friends with our friend today, Ted.
Thanks, guys.
Later, Gators.